Okay, thank you. We call the Personnel Committee meeting to order at 5:47. Do we have any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none, do we have an approval of the agenda? Mayor Harrison and Councillor McHugh. Okay, all in favor? Okay, there are no, so there's no minutes, but there's a note. They were presented, the previous minutes were presented and approved at the regular council meeting held on March 20th. We have no delegations. There doesn't seem any, no public input. So we have one staff report 24-005 CAO by Brian Jardine, Acting Chief Administrative Officer, regarding the Housing Action Plan Coordinator hiring. So, so I guess CAO Clazy's back.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I can speak to the report. I think in general, I think the report's fairly straightforward. This came out of a meeting about couple weeks ago with the Housing Action Plan Committee, and there was certainly some discussion at that committee around, excuse me, around some of the initiatives that we want to move forward as an organization. And there was some discussion at that meeting about how the best way to do that and how we could staff that, or if we needed to hire a consultant. And my understanding is at that meeting there was some general consensus amongst the group that bringing somebody on board for a 12-month contract to help initiate and get some of those initiatives moving forward seemed to be the preferred option. And so that's what we're proposing here tonight. And the proposal is, right now there is $1 million in the Housing Reserve Fund, and we'd be looking at utilizing approximately $100,000 of that funding, or of that reserve, to fund this position over the next 12 months.
Councillor Sharp.
Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to make the motion as presented, or recommend the report. This is a contract position, and we do have the funds, but most importantly, we've considered, or we as council have indicated, Housing Action Plan as a priority. And in looking at the strategies that need to be done, and we didn't get the accelerator fund and we didn't get other funds, we can't do this without this position to help us move along the strategic action items within the Housing Action Plan. And so I just wanted to, I mean, we have the College Street program, e-permitting, accessory dwellings, reducing growth, reducing parking restrictions. We have a lot of items to look at and bring back here. And without this position, it would be much delayed, or maybe not even to get to. So I just wanted to speak in support of it, this position, and make the motion.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Card? Sorry, Councillor O'Neill.
Madam Chair, I'm in support of getting this moving as fast as possible. I have one concern in that Hastings County has staff working on this already, and I want to make sure we don't reinvent a wheel that's already been invented, that if this person is hired, they talk to the people at Hastings County to start moving before they do anything here.
Madam Chair, through you to Councillor O'Neill, absolutely. I don't see any reason why that collaboration wouldn't take place. I think we generally do that when we're looking at policies and putting things together. We look to other municipalities and, as you say, to not reinvent the wheel, and I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be the case here as well. Absolutely.
Okay, Councillor Card.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. To Councillor O'Neill's point, I think actually that was even brought up at the last group meeting that we had. Not only that, but I think in relation to tendering for College Street, kind of our separate parcels when we get to that point. But I did want to give just some more context to the reason why a year seemed to be the consensus of the group from Director Jardine's input was that a lot of these programs and initiatives, the workload would be very front-loaded, though the programs and initiatives maybe take several years to kind of fully realize and implement, and maybe by then there's different policy statement from the province, and I think different things are happening. But the point was that that first year was very key for the staffing, and that's why we suggested the contracted for 12 months, because they could set us up for success during that time. And even though the actual programs initiatives will live on past that, so that was the 12 months.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to comment is that I understand that Prince Edward County also has a similar position in place, and I'm wondering if that might be something that our staff would also be taking a look at. And that my other question was whether this position would be bringing reports on a regular basis back to council so that we can, that doesn't have to be on monthly or anything, but I'm just wondering if we could at least get some progress updates on some of these programs, because they're pretty important. We'd want to see how they progress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excuse me. And my expectation would be, yes, there would be some reports coming to council. Of course, we do have that working group set up, so that would be kind of the first probably point of contact for some of those conversations. But I fully expect as the year progresses, there would definitely be reports coming to council on certainly on some of these initiatives, because some of them we would need council approval or endorsement to implement a number of these things. So there would definitely be information coming forward to council throughout the year as we move forward.
Sorry, just to clarify, I meant Prince Edward County has this position, not the Hastings County. There's two different counties.
Okay.
Apologies, sorry. Councillor Quinte?
They're struggling, Madam Chair, they're struggling just the same as we are. They're struggling the same as we are, so. This is not easy. It's just like Hastings County. To try to get everything in line and make something happen, that's what we're up against. But we will do our best to get the services and to get the, project. And Brian Director Jarney is working on update for the committee. In fact, I think he may even have sent it out today. He may have, so.
Councillor Quinte?
But you also have to remember, his plate is already full. Anyways, that's another issue. That's
Yeah,
why you've
which-
got to have help. Thank you.
You all finished now?
Pardon?
Are you all finished now?
I'm done.
Perfect. Thanks.
Sorry, I quit.
I am going to support the motion. My concern is the 12-month period. I feel that is not long enough for the work that has to be done. Being on the planning committee and on council for quite a number of years and looking at the list of responsibilities, I think we're going to have a hard time recruiting somebody unless the staff already have somebody in mind that they might be looking at to fill this position. I just think it's going to be really challenging to find somebody to fill this spot. And that's why my concern is that we should be flexible on the 12-month time frame, that we should be extending that. We should be looking at 24 months, if not even longer. That's just my opinion.
Question on the screen.
Sorry, yes. Councillor Freeman? Okay, no? Okay,
she's
that's
good.
okay. Okay. Oh, sorry, hands up, Councillor Freeman. Any other comment? Or
Do we have a seconder?
would,
I have Councillor Card as a seconder.
okay. Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Okay, so moved. Thank you. So I don't have any other correspondence, notices of motion, any other business? Okay, so.
Yes, Madam Chairman, I got one comment I'd like to make.
Sure.
Since we've established this new personnel committee, I personally have a problem with all our senior staff being kicked out. In all my years of sitting here and dealing with personnel, and I have chaired many of personnel committees, I feel it's like we're talking behind their back. Unless we have a personal problem with one individual or that, I don't see why we need to, in business like this, we need to have all our senior staff gone, because when we're talking personnel, they can have input. And then I think each situation has to be taken on its own merits, but I just want you to know, that's my opinion. I don't feel comfortable with the way this has been done in the manner of, with our senior staff, and I can tell you, I've had some feedback that they feel like they're being slighted. But that's my opinion, and I just thought I'd bring it up, and I'll leave it at that.
Sorry, Councillor Freeman?
Madam Chair?
Yes? Yes, Councillor Freeman?
Yes, thank you very much. I couldn't agree more, Councillor Allier. Because we can't see who's there, I had no idea there was no staff other than the CAO. So no, there was no need whatsoever for everybody to be at this particular personnel committee meeting, and I'm not sure why that happened.
Councillor Kosovo?
I agree as well. I've had this conversation with Councillor Allier. It makes for a poor leadership style, a toxic work environment. On my first 8 years as council, everyone was on a first name basis. And I know that might not seem like a lot, but now it's very cold atmosphere. And I think that's on us, not them. I think we've created that sense by not having them here. We're all adults, and if something has to be said, it can be said to each other's face. So I agree completely that they should be in the room. They're the ones writing the reports anyway, so they know what's being said at the meetings. They're just not allowed to physically be present.
Councillor O'Neill?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that any staff that wish to be at the Personnel Committee be able to come.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any staff that wish to come? Councillor O'Neill, and seconded by Councillor McHugh.
Or maybe any staff that should be at the personnel meeting attend. Whatever.
So are we talking about inviting staff?
The
that
senior
management that may have an item that's on the agenda to come to those meetings? Because one of the issues that we have discussed previously was about them not having to come to any extra meetings if they didn't have anything on the agenda.
Well, Madam Chairman, I would say that most of the time we have personnel meetings is at a council meeting, so they either have to stay or we have personnel before. And so it's not like we come out to a separate night or anything like that, but I don't see the problem. If they want to attend, they can. I think that it should be back the way it was previously. All senior management here have an opportunity to sit in on these meetings.
CAO Clazy, can
There's a certain individual problem with one, then I know in the past we've had to have a separate meeting if we had to deal with an individual with some type of infraction, I'll put it that way, or concern. But other than that, they were always able to attend.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think if we have this worded so that senior staff can come if they wish to come, I think that's good. And then and in particular, if a staff member has a particular report, I think they should be coming as well. And then we can leave it up to the rest of the staff if they want to come, or if there's certain meetings they want to come to or not others. And then agreed, there may be certain situations where we may not, it's not appropriate for all or certain staff to be in the room, but those are probably more off the norm than would be normal meetings.
If I may, Madam Chair?
yes, Councillor Freeman?
And also, seeing as how at least two of us are going to be on Zoom for these meetings in the future too, I would have liked to have known that there wasn't staff here. I had no way of knowing that. And if just a few staff come, then they'd have to let us know so that we know we could ask them questions. But I don't know why they wouldn't be here for all of our personnel committees unless we don't want someone here.
Councillor
We
McHugh?
just didn't want the whole staff to think we were talking about them when it was one issue that we were discussing. But ordinarily, all staff should be present in case we have questions for them. All senior staff.
I couldn't agree more with Councilor Freeman. I was going to say the same thing. I think it'd be mandatory they all be here unless we have a specific reason for not wanting one of them to be here, because when we talk to somebody in planning, it may spill into bylaw, or they're talking parks, it may spill into public works, and we have them all here, so they all have their own expertise. The departments aren't completely isolated, they work with each other, so I think it should be mandatory they all be here, unless we have a specific reason why one shouldn't be, if it happens to be a personnel matter, or like a personal matter type thing.
Can I get the motion updated?
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Chair. So the motion would be that that senior staff would be invited to come to all of the Personnel Committee meetings, and unless there's a particular issue for them not to be there. Is that basically what we're talking about?
Is that it? First. Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. Is there any other discussion? Okay. I'll call the motion. All in favor? Okay, so moved. Thank you. Any other items for business? Okay. Motion for adjournment. Okay, Councillor O'Neill, Councillor Card. I think we did. So we can't.
Sorry, O'Neill and
Card. Yeah, at 6:03, we adjourn. All in favor? Thank you.